Skyrim. We are making dragon armor and weapons, double A gamer for life. Okay, so building up to this point, I'm a level 49 when I made all this stuff, but playing the game the way I do, I knew that I was going to need the blacksmith elixir and enchantment elixir, which is basically your two highest potions for getting the most enchantment and smithing. Now, this armor set is from a quest out in Solstheim called Unearth. And as soon as Solstheim became available, I went out there. I was a lot lower level, and I really had no business being out there, but I wanted this set of armor for enchanting. In order to make the clothes that we need, the armor and weapons, we need to make some smithing stuff. And what we're going to do right here, we see a ring, a necklace, a set of armor, and I think the arms. So as you play the game, you'll come across something, a necklace or something that'll be like better smithing. So you take it up to the enchantment table and you get it in there so you can use it for enchantment. Okay, so using the Enchanter's Elixir, which gives you 25% boosting on your enchantment, and then wearing that suit, I went ahead and made the 4 items for smithing. Alright, that's going to give me the boost that I needed in order to get the highest ranking on the armor that I'm looking for, because that's what it's all about. Now, while I'm doing this, I also upgraded the arcane part of the smithing in order to upgrade that. The Nightingale stuff, I went ahead and upgraded it. It's not for me. I'm going to go ahead and give that to Serana when she becomes a follower for me. So now I'm ready to pretty much do my thing down here. I went ahead and got my stuff ready. I'm wearing my 4 items of clothing, and I took the blacksmith elixir, and I'm basically just hammering down. Now I'm doing the weapons and armor separately. Now by the time I'm doing this, I believe I have 4 or 5 of the blacksmith elixir, which gives you a 50% boost in smithing. And that's kind of what it's all about. There's no sense doing this stuff if you can't make the best stuff that you could possibly make. So that's why I have the enchanting suit upstairs, and then I also have these 4 items of articles for better smithing. So when I get ready to make my dragon stuff, I'm making the best possible stuff that works for me. So why I needed at least 4 of these elixirs, because I can't get it all done in one thing. So I used 1 bottle of potion to make the weapons, went ahead, hit the crate, got more dragon bones, took another elixir, came over here to the wheel, and went ahead and upgraded all my stuff. I'm like, just bam, right through the list. Alright, so to make the weapons, I needed 2 elixirs just for that. And I still have 2 left to make my armor. So, but again, the reason why I'm getting, the quality that I am is because prior to this, I made sure to keep an eye out for some kind of article that had better smithing, and then I took it up to the enchantment table, got it up into the table, then went ahead and used an enchantment elixir and that suit to make the best smithing stuff that I can make. And then I stashed it so when time came to make all my dragon stuff, I'd be ready to rock and roll, which is what you're seeing right now. Now, I made extra stuff like this Warhammer. I pretty much just put this in a crate. I don't use it. I also made myself a dagger. I don't really use that as well, but I made 2 daggers. I put 1 in a crate for me, but the other one is for Serana. So she gets a dagger in the Nightingale armor set, and she looks pretty good with that. So that works for her. And what I normally do is I probably carry a couple extra weapons, but I like mixing it up. Okay, I made a battle axe. I made 2 bows. One is with a soul trap. The other's got health drain and shock and magic drain on it. So anyway, this is my dragon stuff, and it's about the best that I can make with what I got going on here. And at the later part of the video, I'm going to show you what the stats are on these. I mean, it's all related to your perks and where you're putting them. The more two hands and that kind of stuff. Like my bow's almost maxed out, and right now it's doing like 440 damage, so it is a pretty nice weapon. Okay, so we're back to make our armor, and pretty much just the same deal in reverse, basically. I shouldn't even say in reverse, just the same deal, basically. I had 2 more elixirs. I made sure I had plenty of scales on me. We'll go ahead and take another elixir and get to the armor bench here and just upgrade everything to legendary. I mean, look at the boost that you're getting. I mean, that is some nice stuff there. So, okay, so the only thing that's missing from my apparel is a ring and a necklace, and that isn't really bound by better smithing. There's no armor rating on jewelry, so I just basically need a ring and a necklace for when I get to the enchantment part of making my apparel, that I am good to go. And a little bit we're going to get into the enchanting part of this, because that's the other half of the key to your weapons and your armor. So obviously by the time I am doing this, I have my enchantment up to 100. I have my smithing up to 100, obviously, because we wouldn't be able to make dragon stuff otherwise. So now once my armor and weapons were all made, the leftover bones I made arrows with, and I think that got me somewhere between 700 to 800 in arrows. So that was pretty nice. So I'm ready to rock and roll now as far as getting out in the world and having what I want to be wearing. I mean, the game has got so much good stuff in it. You know, but it's a gamer's choice, you know. It's like, well, you know, I like the ebony stuff, or I like this. I personally haven't found anything better than the dragon stuff to make me want to wear or use anything differently. Okay, so the suit that we got from Out in Solstheim, the Unearthed Quest, boosts your enchantment by 10%, and I haven't come across anything to help you with enchantment exception of the elixirs. So I have, I think, 5 or so of the enchanting elixirs, which gives you a 25% boost along with your apparel. Now, what I did is I went through the list and I kind of looked at everything that I wanted to have. You know, so I went through all the armors, you know, what, you know, was there and what I can use. So by the time it comes up, I know exactly what I want. And I actually wrote it down so I can kind of quick reference it, because you're on a time crunch here. The elixir only lasts for 60 seconds, and that also accounts while you're in here. What you'll see later when I'm doing the weapons, I can't do it all in one shot, so I have to pick half the weapons, enchant them, come out, take another elixir, and then enchant the other half of the weapons. And I did the same thing as well. I went through the list, like, you know, I pull up my battle axe. I'm like, all right, what do I want? You know, I got shock and magic drain, and then, you know, either paralyze or freeze or something to that. But when it gets down to it, I made sure that I wrote it down and I know exactly what I wanted when I get to this part of the enchanting. So, like I said, it is a little bit on the time crunch. You need to, you know, have your game plan ready, so when you get to this part of the enchanting, you're good to go. But like I mentioned, you know, prior to get, I think I'm like 49 when I'm doing all this. When I'm out and about, I went to like every, you know, potion store there is, and, you know, just kept my eyes out looking for the blacksmith elixir and the enchanting elixir, which is your 2 highest ones. And so by the time this happened, I had 4 or 5 of both of them. and I knew that I was going to need them because the amount of articles that you have to do this. So when it got to the weapons, there was no way I can do it in one bottle of elixir. I had to split them up. So that's why I had multiple bottles to make sure I could get all this done. And you're looking, you're like, all right, 48% better bow and one-handed, and that's exactly the kind of setup for the kind of gaming that I do. I like a lot of sneak, and the bows just kick butt, but then sometimes I just want to get my gangster on, so I will pull out the two-handed weapons or the one-handed weapons and get to it, man. And again, there are so many good weapons in this game. I mean, there's just a lot of cool stuff. Presently, I think I'm level 69, pretty close to 70. And again, my bow is maxed out and 445 on damage. I mean, love it. Just love it, man. When the shit's hitting the fan, the bow is what I'm using. But sometimes, like I said, I like to pull out my other stuff and have at it. So when we get ready to do the weapons, like I mentioned, I had a game plan. I went through all the enchanting here. What do I want on this one? Shock and fire, or shock and freeze, or whatever. So as I'm going through the list, I kind of have a mental game plan what I want to do here. Now, when I set it up, I always want two bows. One is for soul trapping, and the other is for killing dragons, or basically humans that are doesn't really give you a soul. Then I'll use my other bow for that. So, like I was mentioning, I'm going to only be able to get halfway through my weapons, and then break out, and then I'll take another elixir, and then go ahead and enchant the rest of my weapons. Now, like I was mentioning, I was building up for this because I knew exactly what I wanted to do. So as I'm getting up to this point where I'm collecting all the elixirs, this and that, I'm also buying the soul gems, the grand one, and these aren't filled from like soul traps or whatever. These are the ones I buy from the wizards or whoever. And as you see, I got 34 or whatever. Well, I've been stashing them because I know when I get to enchanting my weapons, these are what I want to use. So, and as you can see, there's the stats. Okay, like I said, I mentioned I made two daggers. I don't really use one myself, but I made one and I stashed it in like the Warhammer. I don't really use that too, but I made it and I'm going to stash it in the crib. Maybe somewhere along the line I'll come and grab it just to play with it. But one of the daggers is for Serana. I made her the Nightingale armor set. It's given to you by Carlia and doing the nightingales and all that. I don't wear it, so I just go ahead and give it to her, and she looks pretty good with it. And then I just give her this dagger with her necromancing skills, and that she is good to go. I was telling my friend at work, I'm like, I was waiting to get all this dragon stuff made before I went off and started the Dawn Guard, uh, searching out the vampires and all that. So I went ahead and got all this done, and then I'm like, all right, I got all my armor and weapons where I want it to be, and now I'm ready to go off and do this thing. Okay, so there's my dragon armor and weapons, and it is about as high as I can possibly get all my stats, where I want them to be. And for me, he looks pretty damn good. Every time I played Skyrim, I'm always a Nord. I never pick any of the other style of characters. I'm always this particular character because that's what works for me. So this is a look at my weapons now at level, I think I'm 69. But, you know, I've been putting towards light armor, and then, you know, which entails, you know, boost your thing. I've always done light armor, never done heavy, but whichever way you pull, if you put your stats in that area, at some point your armor weighs nothing. So, but I always go with light armor. It's just my thing, and it's what works for me. So, like right now, I'm like, I've have any kind of enemy that come up and just like put me down. I'm like, I can take a lot of damage. They come up and they just fucking start whacking at me, and I'm like, haha, that's right, bro. I pull out my axe and just chomp them. So there's my battle axe, and I do have some points on the two-handed. When shit gets heavy, I pull out this bad boy and I start chomping. Okay, 447 damage. That's pretty sweet, dude. Okay, both of my bows, my long sword, and my one-handed sword and axe doing 130 in damage. That's pretty nice. So I'm going to go ahead, and this is more for my buddy at work, that I'm going to take out a few dragons. And I've also, in previous game or times through Skyrim, didn't really mess with the elixirs or potions, but this time around I put some points at it, and I've been making some. And fortify archery, or marksmanship, which is archery, and a little bit of poison, and I will just be taking out some dragons. Come on in for a crash line, and there you go. Prior to really messing with potions like the elixir of true shot, you know, I would keep an eye out for it. I would buy it. You know, anytime I had a heavy enemy that I wanted to take out quick, I'd take one of those potions. But now, sort of like the smithing clothes that I made some for alchemy. So, you know, fortified marksmanship, it's like 50% more, you know, bow. You're like, hell yeah, I'll be all over that. Okay, so I don't know if I'm in my mid-60s here, but my smithing is back up to 100 again, and I got a stockpile of dragon bones. So I do go legendary on my smithing and enchantment, because once you've made your stuff, you're pretty much good. I mean, it's a gamer's thing. If you don't want to like go legendary on enchantment or smithing, that's, you know, your thing. But in order to get, you know, ranked up, you're gonna have to go legendary on something. You're just never gonna. You're gonna run out of game before you'll ever get to that higher level. So, enchanting and the smithing. So before I went ahead and went legendary on my smithing again, I went out seeking dragons just to get another 10 to 15 or 16 more bones to add towards my arrows. So, you know, I head up to the dragon and take me a fortified marksmanship, and then put a little poison on it, and then just have at it. Damn vampires, always trying to turn me, but I never have it. That's why I keep one of those cure-alls on me all the time. And I sneak up to this one dragon, bam, one arrow, done, down. Love it. Alright, so that's basically a look at the way I deal with my dragon armor and weapons, and a little bit of look at how it works, and that's going to wrap it up.